No, no, certainly. And Naga.
Wow, okay.
Naga's coming out to play.
This is... I take it back. It's not playing passive. It's I really, really don't want to lose this game.
Yes, this is, you know, hold them back, keep the push off, do what you can, react to any kind of aggression, and be able to buy the space and time for the Naga to get her items online. And, well, we'll see what Archon do in response. One area I was going to ask you about, the Tusk. You know, we've seen the side of Archon grab it from MSS before. Is this a Tusk game?
It could be. With the Naga Siren being picked up, I think Tusk is really good, but they already have their off-lane hero.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
It would have to be a role switch up.
I don't want to run like a 3 or 4 Tusk most of the time, because he doesn't really get enough farm priority, and he does need some semblance of item progression. So I'm kind of leaning a little bit more away from that, but they're going to need decent lockdown. At least. Like, having Queen, having Clockwork, that's pretty good if the Queen wants to go for Orchid, but the most common item build we see nowadays is just like Aghanims, and Octarine is not... It's not super standard, but we see it sometimes. That's what QO in the last game, and he showed off how tanky that build can be. Like, Korok had an absolute terrible time trying to kill that hero, so it definitely has its merits.
Alright, it's going to be very interesting what Archon pick up here. In terms of the heroes they do like to pick, obviously Rubik is up there for Fog. He's going to go up to the Disruptor this time.
Like
we were looking at the supports that we'd like to see him pick up, and this is certainly one of them. Disruptor, also very good, of course, in the earlier stages for controlling the Naga Siren. You know, if you're able to trap her up in the field, drop the Static Storm down as well, ensuring she can't get out of there with that song. It can be pretty crushing if you can play it right.
Disruptor is one of the few heroes who can punish a Naga walking away. Like, most of the time, like you mentioned, the song TP is very common, but sometimes you can't actually TP away. So Clockwork and Disruptor both have ways of stopping a TP with song active, because the glimpse range and the hookshot range are so long that you actually won't be slept while you're trying to go in. So already Archon has some tools at their disposal for being able to deal with that Naga. I see this draft from Archon, and I'm thinking to myself, I just want to see an Enigma. Like, if you look at Shaker and Dazzle and Naga, this to me does not seem the make of any sort of aggressive lane, nor do I think that team's going to be very good at punishing any sort of jungle.
But in the fights, they've got the song. Is that not too much of an issue for the... do you not feel?
Well, you typically just go like mech, and then you
just
push,
go for the push
really hard.
So the fact you've got the Black Hole is just an extra bonus, but really you're picking the hero for that early farm that you're going to get in the jungle, and for the fact you can turn into lanes and end the game as quickly as possible. Yeah, absolutely. Like, getting the map control away is similar to what MVP did in Game 1 against Archon. That's the kind of thing that I want to see Archon try to do here in Game number 3. Now, TA pick up against Queen, not necessarily a huge lopsided matchup. It does slightly favor Queen. It's not like a E20 or anything like last game, watching Storm versus Queen, where QO just had a ball of a time. But this matchup can be a little bit skill-based. If you get sentries pulled, Queen should have a decent time, though. Okay, 4th pick for the side of Team Archon. What else are they looking for? Well, we're still really kind of looking for, I'd imagine, what Ush's hero here in the safe lane. I really think Enigma is so good here for Archon. Unless, I imagine it's going to be fogged on the Disruptor, won't it? Yeah, I believe so. He's still looking for Chad's hero here, and... well, okay. Spoilers, this was already picked up in the other series. Game 1 between Vega and C-Deck. We're going to see it ourselves here, and I'm happy about that one, Andy. I really like the Ember Spirit against Naga Siren, because a lot of the time you get to the late game phase and the illusions just become so obnoxiously tanky that no one can deal with it. But multiple Battle Fury Ember will destroy illusions. GG late game, indeed. Yeah, if you can get to that point and you can have that lead against the and also what's really nice, looking at the lineup of MVP, what have you got to control him? I guess once you've got the blink on the Earthshaker, it's going to be a game where that ES is going to have to blink Echo Slam directly on top of the Ember Spirit to start the chain lockdown. I mean, if you as long as you've got vision of the ES, you're going to see the Fisher flying forward. You should be able to dodge it, whether it be with Slider Fist, whether it be with Remnanting back out to a Remnant. But if played correctly, the Ember Spirit could be nice, and with that picked up, are you imagining this is going to be a safe lane, Ember, and the mid Queen, or will they swap it round? I think Queen will go mid. I don't think Ember matches up that well against TA, because, well, if you get ganks, it actually is okay. The problem with Ember is that his base armor is extremely low, and what will often happen is the Templar Assassin will just skill more points into meld, and then because of the fact that you're trying to go in and harass, you just end up in a situation, okay, is this position 1 Viper? So I was going to say earlier when the Naga was picked up, I guess there was the potential for it to be actually make position 4 Naga. It would actually make more sense to put TA safe, I think. Okay. Because no matter what, like, either matchup, Viper does better against both heroes than TA does. Right? So, like, if it's Viper versus Ember, the Viper's fine. If it's Viper versus Queen,
the Viper's fine. Like, neither one of those matchups actually disfavor him at all. So in terms of lane stability, I think it's more likely that we'll probably see the TA just go to the safe lane, and then they could.
5 seconds remaining.
I don't think they'll do any like aggressive lanes or anything like that. But yeah, it's looking like offlane shaker at the moment.
Reserve time.
The final pick for the side of Archon. Phoenix, they did end up banning out that fogged Rubik, maybe a little bit scared that it was going to be picked up, and Disruptor, maybe it was going to be played by Chad this game. But final pick up now for the side of Archon, who's still left alive in the lineup. Well, there is still... Understandably so, an headline. Okay, so it's going to be interesting to see how the lanes go up. It will be QO, of course,
it is position
on the
1 Naga.
So... it's going to be a Viper March. Okay, so it's... alright, so they're maybe going to look at dual lanes here?
It's dual lanes, yeah, for sure. I think after seeing the Ember Spirit and the Disruptor, they think they can get away with it. Because if you have the Earthshaker sitting behind the Viper, unless you are really far out of position, and the Disruptor is like level 3 or 4, like that's the level that he has to be to really punish you for bad positioning. Because you need 1 Thunderstrike, you need Glimpse, and you need Field, at least. And level 1 is not that long. So you're going to need at least level 2 if you really want to punish Martin too far up. So we'll see how the lanes go. I think between these two supports, the support damage output is not great, but they're laning with an Ember, right? So the damage output is very high.
Yeah.
So between those two and Ember, they should be able to find kills, I think.
Fact, in the Flame Guard to what a gyro would have in that lane. The fact that you're able to, you've got that hero that's going to have the control, and you've got that hero that's just going to walk them down and have that damage around them that's going to be able to melt some of the heroes on the other side. But, well, let's see what goes on as we get ourselves into this deciding match between these two sides. I do apologise for the fact that the ticker at the top is not displaying that this is, in fact, the third game of the best of 3, the deciding matchup between Team Archon and MVP.Phx. Here with myself, ODPixel and Draskell, and it's actually going to be a straight smoke up here from Archon as they look to go directly into MVP's jungle. MVP are here as a full 5-man. And the question is, Andy, who's going to come out on top of a level 1 engagement? Okay, well, we're going to find out now, Chad. Leading in with the Hex here. There's going to be a
fissure.
And that could be it. I mean, they might even lose Chad after this one. They've got the slow on him with the Viper trying to chase it down. QO gets caught over the cogs, but Archon realizing they can't fight. They need to get out. That's going to be first blood going to your safe lane, Naga. So Febby, he is going to have another fissure in a few seconds if Archon decides to stick around. And Archon actually coming back in. Febby, he's got a fissure. I think Archon realize that now. They don't want to lose anything else here. That's an easy first blood there for your safe lane Naga.
It was really unfortunate that MSS missed those cogs. Like I think if he walked a little bit closer to the fissure and then cogged, he would have definitely saved Chad, like 100%, because the first hero that was chasing him down and getting those poison attacks off would have just gotten put back. So a bit unfortunate that they end up giving that first blood, but in the grand scheme of things, like, who did he give it to? Okay, he gave it to Naga, so that's actually not great. But wow, they're gonna contest? I guess it's melee core versus melee core, so it's not that bad.
I mean, do you think they're assuming that it's definitely a safe lane from Archon, or do you think after that 5-man movement down at the bottom lane, they thought Archon were going aggressive?
Ember doesn't go aggressive.
Okay.
I don't think. Like, he's a very, very squishy hero, and in fact, it's just going to be Ember mid. So this is totally not what I was expecting, if I'm being honest. Like, I really didn't think that Ember would go up against TA, like, at all. And I really thought that they would just go for dual off, but they're feeling comfortable and that they just want to go aggressive versus the safe lane right now of Archon, which I guess is going to be farming Queen of Pain.
Oh, the Fisher. Look, the damage onto Krok, the physical damage there. Bringing him right, like, he has got that salve available. But, I mean, with the lanes looking as they are, who are you favouring in the early game?
Well, Queen should farm. I think Usha's going to have a really hard time mid. I don't think this matchup is favored for Ember even a little bit. And then safe lane, it's just going to be Viper versus Clockwork. So on paper, 2 lanes MVP should go fairly well. I think the Naga is probably going to find some CS.
Oh, look at it. Look at the Fisher. Look at the damage as well. KB coming in with the Riptide, chasing down Fod. Korok, he has got a blink, but look how low he is. He's trying to juke it out here, hiding in the tree line.
Okay, so they're actually just winning all 3 lanes.
This is getting crushed up here.
Yeah, this is just like a triple lane win. I think as the levels start to get higher in mid, it's going to be more of a discrepancy. And Usha's already been forced to salve versus QO. And QO has his bottle. So, yeah, this is going to be rough.
Indeed, and yeah, in terms of CS as well, the fact that KP isn't actually finding much at all, but if they're able to pressure Krok enough, there's going to be a point where it's going to be very hard to stop this Naga from farming here on the top lane. Mid lane, us trying to go with the Flame Guard, but as you said here, coming in with the side blades, just forcing the Ember Spirit back each and every time. MSS looking for a bit of fun here, pulling the creep wave away from the bottom lane, which is going to lead these creeps to go straight in under the tower. In terms of farming under the tower, is it that bad for Mark on the Viper? He's going to
no, it's fine.
Yeah, he's fine with this, isn't he?
I mean, the thing about Viper is his last setting on a tower is really nice because Nether Toxin bonus damage. So you just wait for like 4 or 5 hits from a tower on a melee creep, and like 2 for the range, and you should pretty much be able to get most of them, if not all of them. And he even wants to pull the creep out a little bit to ensure his lane equilibrium, just keeping the creeps there a little bit longer. Small stuff like that is really important when you're playing in 1v1s, just to make sure you're putting your lane in a better position to just zone out the enemy hero. But MSS, no slouch himself in this 1v1 matchup. He's already level 3.
Chad needs to be a bit careful. I mean, he came towards the mid lane. He's hanging around there, so being spotted out by this ward from the side of MVP. And at the same time, this is obviously going to let MVP know that it is just still these 2 heroes here on the top lane if they want to try and go for a little bit of aggression. Febby and Nuts here on the Dazzle and the Earthshaker. Bottom lane though, yeah, March having a grand old time, top of the CS board at the moment. And it's going to be interesting to see what these Vipers are able to achieve this game. I mean, do you expect the mech to come out in this Viper and March to start to join the rest of his team to fight? Or are we going to see a more passive farming Viper in these earlier stages?
I think he just gets the mech and starts trying to help fight. Like with mech and the sustain from the Dazzle, I think they can actually push towers. Like TA does a lot of physical DPS, so pushing towers early as TA is not really too difficult. And the more towers you push, the easier it's going to be for KP to keep all the lanes out once he finally gets to that Radiance. So I think that early pushing is very conducive to the style that MVP want to play. But if they do decide that they want to play more passive, they can do that too. Naga Siren is one of those heroes that, in the ultra late game, if played well, can just be an absolute nightmare for any team to deal with. So I don't think MVP are really pressured one way or the other.
We're now going to see the supports of Archon leave this top lane. Fogdan Chad handing down to ensure that they can grab this rune. Oh, it's going to all be spotted out here by this ward, so they're going to know that they're about and do it. Well, Q actually decided to opt for that bottom rune, grabbing him himself. That invis on the TA.
Radiant's middle tower.
But still 1-0 at the moment, 4 minutes in. This game certainly being a lot more passive than the others. And interesting to note as well, Ush in this mid lane as well. You're talking about the fact that you reckon he'd have a bit of a tough time. He's doing all right. 21 for 1, gets to 19 for 7. I mean, that's a fair bit more than eyes on the TA, but Ush still certainly finding the farm.
Yeah, he's doing very well, actually. I mean, the TA has gone for a very standard skill build. Sometimes... oh, actually, bottom lane. Gonna see potentially a kill here.
Going straight in. Fogden MSS, they found March. March trying to bring down Fogden. He's actually going to get it. Does take down the Disruptor there before he fools himself. So a kill going both ways, but of course Viper benefiting there from the solo XP.
Yeah, that was really nice. But we were talking about the mid matchup, and a lot of the times players will either skill to win their matchup or they will skill normally to still have a positive impact in the game. And QO has opted not to go for the max meld build, which is very typical TA versus Ember.
He's going very aggressively. He's got the back a bit of Febby, but now with the Remnants going forward, he's trying to find QO. Doesn't quite get it because of the defensive Remnant at the time. Just a little bit too long to get up in the face of QO, and QO is only just going to be able to survive and get himself back to base there.
That's one of the reasons why you see so many people skill meld against this hero, is because his damage over time, if you don't have max meld, is too much. Like the highest single target DPS build is just going for max meld, so when he goes into you and he throws out the Searing Chains and the Flame Guard, a high level of meld will actually outdeal his damage.
Bottom lane, they're going in on March. Fogt is there. March trying to do what he can with the Viper Strike onto MSS. Has he got enough damage? It doesn't look like he does this time, and MSS and Fogt will bring down the Viper without any casualties. The bottom line this game round.
Really nice rotations coming in from Archon. It's pretty ironic if you think about it. The first game in the series, there was a Viper mid, and MVP abused it, and now there's a Viper safe lane, and Archon are doing the same thing. They're just abusing the fact that Viper he can't walk away. Like, they know that he's down here solo. Like, Nuts has made the transition, but unfortunately for him, that's a little bit too late. Middle, yeah.
Yeah, they're trying to go in, and this time Chad is there to help out Ush with their Hex as well, but the Fisher. This is why it's very nice to have an Earthshaker. When you're playing one of these heroes that's going to get constantly ganked in the mid lane, if you've got that ES hanging around with a Fisher, it's going to make it incredibly hard for the other team to get a successful pickoff.
I gotta hand it to Archon, though. Like, at the start of things, I really thought that their laning phase would go a lot worse than it is, but they are definitely proving me wrong. And the most surprising thing is Ush. Like, the fact that he's managed to have such a nice early game. He's even got his sentries down now mid from Chad, so he's going to be able to kill those pesky TA traps.
And in bottom lane as well, MSS thanks to those pickoffs. He's level 7. He's got the belt of strength now on top of the boots, and Fogged is just hanging around here, making sure that this lane is not going to be a nice place for March to go and farm. And March realizes that. He actually TP'd up to the bottom lane here. He's going to look to farm directly against Korok. And in the jungle now, MSS and Fog continue to find as much as they can. It was a bit of a lane swap, because KP's come down on the Naga. He's going to have the backup of the Daz. And leaving March on his own up top. And March says, guys, second thoughts about this lane swap, or maybe not. He might find the kill onto Chad. Chad getting like the Fisher will bring him down. March does lose his life there to Korok. We are 1-for-1 on the top lane. But again, I guess at least it's the Viper going down and not the Naga Siren. So in that sense, the lane swap was worthy for the side of MVP.
He's pretty much the sacrificial lamb at this point, isn't he? It's like no matter where he goes, the poor guy just gets killed within like a minute of being in that lane. And oh, this is nice anticipation coming in from Archon. Maybe even a little bit better coming out from that trap from QO. It's pretty common for TAs to stack Ancients like this. You know, you just stack it up, you kill it. It's like maybe like a level and a half or something like that. Maybe 1,000 gold if you get like a 4 or 5 stack going. But Archon definitely onto that. At the moment, they're kind of favoring their supports getting some EXP. Fog just sitting mid trying to get that Static Storm. It's going to be very, very nice if he can get it at around like the 10-minute mark, maybe like 11, 12 minutes if it's a bit slow. But yeah, this game is like, it's actually super close. The only thing that's worrisome is the fact that the Naga's getting pretty much the same amount of farm as everybody else. Like no one's pressuring KP.
And I'm talking about pressure towards the mid lane. MSS was looking for a potential wraparound. It was spotted, of course, by this Radiant Ward here over the dire side of the river. And even Ush with this Invis rune doesn't look like he'll be able to find anything in the mid lane. Heading towards the bottom lane, I mean, if they can find KP, he's still yet to hit level 6, so doesn't have that song available. This would be a very nice time to take down the Naga if you can do it successfully.
Finding this timing, though, this is pretty tough. Like, they're going to see illusions, and they're going to assume that he's down there. But again, like, diving under a tier 1 is pretty tough. He's going to see the courier here, but he's not going to be able to find anything. Yeah, I don't know. Both teams right now, I think that Archon knows that killing the Naga Siren or trying to force pressure would be good, whereas MVP don't really have to. They can kind of sit around, because Ush, the more time that he spends not on lane, it's just the more time he's not farming, right? Like, he just used an entire invis duration walking around the woods and didn't really get much. Now, again, Fogged, he's sitting here, he's soaking mid. He's going to hit 6. So it's not like they just gave away nothing. It was still an effective rotation just because of the fact that they wanted to make sure the Disruptor was going to have ulti. But a little bit of wasted time here from Ush.
And in terms of net worth at the moment, coming up to that 10-minute point of the game, top of the board is the Queen and the Ember Spirit. So Archon slightly ahead in terms of overall farm, but it is very, very close indeed. I kind of feel as the series have gone on so far, they've just got closer. Also, the games within this series, they've just got closer and closer. Game 1 was a bit of a stop. The last game, as we were saying, couldn't have got any closer. Maybe this game can prove us to be the next step on from that one. Bottom lane, Chad as well. He's going to find his level 6 pretty soon here if he's able to clear out this wave without too much trouble, as KP continues to play very defensively, hiding behind this tower. This creep wave should bring her in the level 6, but she's been spotted out. KP.
He's level 6.
He's good.
He just hit it.
He's fine. And I think they realise that as well. It's just MSS here and Chad. They do have the finger, though. But still, it's going to be hard to bring down this Naga as just a 2, especially if you're diving behind the tower.
It's too risky. Like, if you force TP reaction and there's a song there as well, you could potentially have like 2 or 3 extra heroes if you don't kill the Naga before the song comes out. So right now, I respect the fact that Archon are not just like, okay, we need to dive, like right now. And QO in the meantime is taking his stack, so MVP definitely getting a decent amount out of their early game. I'm wondering what Korok is actually going to go for here.
At the moment, yeah, it's coming to 900 gold.
I guess
nothing on the curry at the moment, just the treads.
I really think Orchid is super strong this game, but the problem with Orchid Queen is that when you blink in and you like miss blink, you're just dead. Whereas having Aghanims gives you that leeway, you know, you blink in, you're kind of tanky. Think of QO last game, his build. He could blink aggressively because he just had so much damn HP. Didn't even matter. But this game, I think Orchid brings so much value, like for Naga Siren, even for TA, being able to stop her from using Meld or throwing out an Orchid onto the Shaker or the Dazzle middle lane.
Are they going to go for it here? I mean, they've got Fogged around with the Static Storm, but it looks like they're already a little bit too spooked. Ush does round himself away, and now they might in fact lose Fogged beyond the Disruptor. March goes through one more right click there, thanks to the Nether Top. Now bring down the Disruptor. Static Storm was dropped, but it doesn't matter. The side of MVP are going to get themselves out scot-free with that kill onto Fogged.
I thought Archon might have been able to go back in there. Like, if he had a double Remnant, and he had his Searing Chain up with Flame Guard, he might have been able to get a counter kill at the very least, because they were still both stuck in Storm. Right. So maybe a little bit of a slow reaction here.
I mean, what do you think about the skill build here on Ush? So he's going pretty much purely for the damage over time. And
this is like super...
Is it just because he's not looking to fight? He's just looking to keep himself alive?
Well, the thing is, like, Max Flame Guard is very standard for pushing out waves. And then Searing Chains, they changed the scaling of it a long time ago. So you actually need 4 points. And Sleight of Fist just isn't really that useful early. So here we go.
And just bringing back Kyo here. She's going to go for the support first. MSS actually finding himself a kill elsewhere with the Viper. Nuts does manage to get off the shallow rave. Is it going to be enough to turn this one around? Oh, she's got the Remnant out already. But look at the heal bomb and the Fissure. They bring down Ush on the Ember Spirit. Chad, he's gets the stun onto Kyo, and now with the song, KP and Febby moving in. And look how close they are. He should be able to hit both easily with the entire time aftershock. Can they bring these two down? No, he's a little bit early. It doesn't matter. Chad gets slow. Lion will fall here. Fog trying to run himself away. Drops the field, but he's trapped in the party with KP as the Fissure holds the Disruptor in place. KP takes the kill. And, well, I mean, at the same time, Archon, they're able to get this top tower down. March did find a kill onto Viper, but the side of MVP.Phx taking 3 of the heroes away from the side of Archon. It's easily benefiting them, and Ush, he's actually come straight back in. Maybe he can try and turn this around. Febby's got a Fissure though. The Flame Guard helping him against the magical damage. The Echo Slam does nothing, and now Korok coming in to help out Ush. The Clockwork fine thing onto TA. Korok might be able to find Febby. One more right click will do the job. He's able to blink himself away as well. March doesn't find anything here. And again, Archon reacts very nicely there to the side of MVP. MVP had a good engagement, but Archon comes straight back. Ush goes straight in and ensures that they're able to find the TA and the Earthshaker.
That was really nice turnaround coming in from Archon. I mean, MVP, they overstayed. Like, once you get that fight going, you have to respect the mobility of a hero like Ember Spirit and Queen, right? And they also have Clockwork, so there's so many different forms of initiation that Archon have at their disposal that they were just there for way too long. Like, there was no business that I think that TA had pushing middle lane like that when he knew that he only had one hero to back him up. So maybe, because Febby's been playing such a nice game, like his early fissures have been on point. He got that first blood on Chad because he isolated the Lion from the other 4 members of his team in the woods. He got another kill on middle lane with the heal bomb and the fissure. He's been playing very well, so I guess it's kind of easy to get lured into that sense of security. It's like, my Shaker's got my back, you know? And then unfortunately, they were just there for too long. So,
Blair is going to spot out KP here. There's a finger. Chad taking himself a free kill down to the Naga Siren.
Got him.
Very nicely done there from Archon.
Yeah, that was really, really well played. And plus, that gives him a ton of experience, too. Because that Naga Siren is like level 7, so now Chad is higher level than the position 1 Naga on MVP, which is a very good place to be in if you're a support. Now, I did want to bring up the item choice here from Korok. He's opted to go for the Yules. Now, this is kind of like a hybrid build, right? So instead of going for Orchids and going in for Silence and Burst, you have an item that can let you chase, you get a decent amount of mana regeneration, and stopping TPs is pretty important on Queen, right? Like, if you're chasing somebody down, you don't want them to be able to get away. And you also have that in conjunction with Thunderstrike vision and things like that.
Oh, the guy's not going to be able to trap Q slow.
But the one thing about this build is it makes him extremely squishy, right? So if he gets like a bad fissure, he could just die, right? So it's a little bit interesting. I thought at first he was going to go Book because he bought the Staff of Wizardry first. Yeah. And Book is actually crazy good against their heroes. It's amazing against Shaker because his mana pool is low. It's very good against Viper because without mana you can't even orb walk, right? And Viper doesn't really have that great of a mana pool either, and PA can't melt. So I thought for a little while that's what was going to be his choice, but...
Oh, in the jungle here, I was trying to find KP. Oh, the damage, no, it's not going to be enough. It's not going to be enough. KP will escape.
That's still worth it, though.
It is, and forcing the Naga back to base, you're only slowing down her farm.
Yeah, and forcing out the song when it's level 1 is a pretty nice
He's got a blink. But oh, yeah, he's fine. He's able to blink himself back. He may even go back in. He's got an ultimate. He's going incredibly aggressive here, Febby. But in fact, it's the mid lane where the action's really happening. The Static Storm was dropped onto March. He's able to get that out with Viper Strike. And now Ush coming in, turning it around. They've taken that to the side of MVP.Phx. QO gets the Maelstrom. Will be able to find the Clockwork. But it looks like he might pay with his life. Sleight of Fist there from Ush. They bring down a third hero to the side of MVP. And Korok holding that in place with the Yules. There we go. It's a double kill for Ush as he remnants forward. It's a 4-for-1 trade. Archon again doing it in the mid lane.
Their heroes are all so amazing at mid game. Like Queen, Ember, Disruptor, Lion. Like all of these heroes are mid game. Clockwork was up as well. You can't fight them at this timing. their heroes are just too good in isolated situations. Like that shake. Febby gets caught in the river. The rest of his team goes to help mid. So he gets caught out completely alone. I mean, we're going to see a smoke. And this is only 2 heroes, but this is still a very strong 2-hero smoke because of who they are, right? Like the Ember and the Queen. There's 2 highest net worth heroes right now on Dire. So if they find somebody, knowing that Song is down...
Exactly. They know that there's this window of opportunity. Level 1 Song, the cooldown's incredible.
They know he's there.
And KP, he's going to look for the TP, but it's going to be in vain. He goes down. Killing spree for Ush. And this is worrying when you're starting to lose your Naga side. Kua has turned up to the party, but I don't know if he's going to be able to find Ush. He can Remnant out. He's got enough mana to do so, but the Fisher will hold him in place for the time being. Not going to be enough, though, as Ush is able to get himself down to the low ground and out of there. Korok actually turning up to the fight. Walked into Kyo, and now MSF. It was a bit of a good troll. Korok doesn't have the ultimate available, but it might matter. Febby's getting low. Febby will go down. Kyo trying to get the damage out, but MSS, he's got a blade mail. You don't want to be hitting that. Kyo, he turns to toward Korok, but Korok gets the blink off, gets himself out. Now Kyo, he's been shadow graved up, and now he's caught in the static storm. Much get off the mech. Fog looks to TP out. He gets himself. No, he doesn't. He does go down. Champ with the finger does enable them to find a second kill here. MSS trying to chase this one down. Now Ush turning up the fight. Moving forward with the Remnant. And in comes the battery itself. Korok is incredibly low. This man, how big are his balls? Incredibly big. He gets himself out as well. And at the same time, Chad chasing down Nuts. He's taken the man away. He hasn't got any of the stuns or the hexes available. They're already being used. But again, 15 for 9 now. Archon certainly breaking away 18 minutes into this match. And again, as you said, their mid-game's just so damn strong.
Korok just played that phenomenally. Like, every single one of his blinks were perfect. He forced QO to try to go on him to zone him out of the team. The hookshot lands on Febby. So he blinks below the cogs in a way that QO can't hit him. They take out Febby. The next people come into the team fight. The Viper didn't even get his ultimate off because of battery assault and Searing Chain, so the rest of his team stopped the ulti from coming through at all when Korok was unable to blink away. Like, the coordination of the play from Archon in this game might even surpass what they had previously. And Korok, he's going to find KP, he's going to force out the Naga Siren Song in the top lane. And I want to also note, it's 19 minutes in. This Naga still does not have Relic. Only at 2,600 gold, so Archon, they're putting a lot of pressure on.
Whoosh. He's got a haste, he's going towards the mid, but there are 4 heroes here on the side of MVP.Phx. QO picking himself up a couple of stacks of the old Ancients. So this is not the fight that Ush wants to be looking for. And he's on top of the phase and the drums. He's picked up the Perseverance and with that Quelling Blade in the stash as well, looking to get that Battle Fury online. And I mean, at this point, you get the Battle Fury, and the Naga's still almost certainly going to have nothing. So she's going to melt if she gets the illusions out in these fights.
That's kind of the problem that MVP are going to run into. And the Battle Fury on Ush is going to be even more problematic because those illusions are just going to die straight up. Because normally, when you're playing Naga Siren, you just go straight for Yasha and bots because you want to make sure your illusions run as fast as possible to get them out on the map, right? Yeah, he's in the area. He's going to have to be careful. I think he's fine, though. Oh, what?
What?
Okay,
He's
weird.
fine. He didn't want that TP
He
anyway.
didn't see Febby.
He didn't want it.
Yeah, he didn't see Febby, so there's no way he could have known that he was going to get fissured there, but a little bit awkward. Waste of TP, but not really too much of a big deal. For now, though, MVP, they still have their tier 1 mid, which is nice. It's like probably the most important tower, I think, for them to hold right now. So the fact that it's alive is definitely a good sign for the MVP fans out there. And the Naga Siren, even though not close to Relic, still highest in terms of overall CS. And then TA is also up there in the top 3, so...
I mean... Talking about the CA, we did see in that last fight, when she's able to hit people,
it hurts.
She certainly punched, but they've just got so much control on Archon, you know, in the fact with the lockdown that they've got on the line. There's the Glimp, the connected lane, and oh, let's have a look at that one before I miss it. I missed the dazzle kill, but I'm not going to miss any more kills in case they happen, but it doesn't look like they will, because MS with the blade mail going to try one more off. Oh, Korok turns up from the side, he takes down them, as it's a double kill for MSS here on the clockwise. He gets them with the rocket flare. 3 heroes down on MVP. They're going to lose this mid lane tower as well. Top lane, QO looking for a bit of a split push, trying to get a tier 1 of his own, but I don't think it matters here because Archon, once again, it's just too much for the side of MVP to deal with.
I gotta hand it to the way Korok's playing this game. Like, he started off a little bit rough, top lane. They're also gonna be losing QO. Ush goes back in. He needs to be careful for the damage output from that TA, but they find another kill on mid player. So Korok, again, like, when you give this guy room, he will perform, especially on these heroes like Queen of Pain, like Storm Spirit. Those are the heroes that he likes. High impact, very tempo controlling style of heroes, and I think that they've actually drafted him into a position to succeed. As we see MSS also in the woods, finding another kill onto KP. This Naga Siren, man. I mean, he's up to 3,300 gold now. In the game with a Naga Siren, you can never say it's over. It's not over until the Naga stops singing. That's pretty much how you have to see it, right? So they still have some time to recover. They have all their tier 2s up. And I'm looking in terms of big items. The Shaker is the one, I think, on MVP who needs to be kind of the delivery for big plays. But the thing is, he's broke. He doesn't have anywhere near a Blink Dagger. He just has Arcanes, a Smoke, and 1 Ward. So if you're looking to Febby to try to turn this game for you, like in terms of big echoes, it's a ways away before that's going to start happening. And that just leaves Archon even more room to go all over the map. And they are so confident in themselves, they buy the gem on the Lion. So Chad, or actually he might give it to Korok or something, just somebody who's a little bit harder to kill. But with that gem, they're going to take full map control.
And the jungle Korok might get caught out this time here. Febby's going to find it, but the Yult again make big plays. MSN coming in with a hook shot. And he's going to be able to trap both Nuts and Feb in there. Nuts is going to be kept alive here by the Shallow Grab. Korok taking the damage from QO. The side of MVP, they've managed to find the kill onto the Queen of Pain. They do lose the Dazzle, but they find QO. It's a double kill for QO. And this is what we're talking about. If MVP are able to find themselves in the engagements where QO can get the damage out, they're going to come out on top, and they might find Ush as well. Look at these melt strikes. They're going to try and chase it, but Ush, he's got that haste boot. Will get himself out. Cat here with the stun onto March. The static storm in front down. The finger as well. March getting low, trying to get some right clicks in. It doesn't matter. But now here comes the right clicks from QO. He's going to get this back. It doesn't matter. They lose Chad here. Fog will just smoke up. TP out. Will manage to get himself out, but you need to control this TA, otherwise she is just going to melt through you. She's got 2.2k gold in the bank now as well. If it gets to the point where QO's got a BKB on top of the Deso and the Blink, I think you're in trouble.
That's one thing, too, that we actually failed to mention. It's an excellent point that you bring up, is BKB is amazing against Archon's team. They have almost no damage throw right now. Ush, he's looking for the TA. Not going to be able to find it. Like, the thing is, Ush needs, like, 1 or 2 more damage items before he gets enough damage to the BKB not being, like, as big of a deal. So there's a little bit of a timing where your item progression on the TA, that BKB is going to be out well before Ush has another damage item. Unless, for some reason, Archon just starts totally steamrolling. And the one thing, too, about that last team fight is when Korok blinked, he actually didn't have any vision of what was going on the low ground. So he didn't see QO coming up the hill. So he blinks actually in the wrong way and then ends up getting really punished because he already had Weave on. And then he gets meld struck with a Deso. So all of a sudden his health is just gone. I think if I were to choose, I'd probably end up going like Ghost or something like that. Or at least another item that prevents the TA from hitting me.
Okay, worth noting as well, Naga does have the Relic now.
Yeah, and she is actually very close to Radiance.
Yeah.
So her Radiance timing actually was accelerated pretty heavily.
Oh, on the side, they're smoking up here as well.
Oh, they're going to find Fog.
If they, I mean, look, 1, 2. Oh, no, he's going to hit a few more here, and he's actually going to get himself out of there. Damage not quite enough to bring down the Disruptor. Can they turn this one out? Korok, he's going to maybe blink himself out of his one. The Glimpse there, bringing QO back into the Static Storm. He's going to be shot up just in. No, they're going to lose Korok here on the Queen of Pain. MS is getting as well. QO, he's going to live through this one, and he wants more. Blinking forward onto Fog. This man, he has no fear. Getting the damage forward. Fog going up the high ground, trying to get himself out. Looks like he will escape, but indeed, Chad getting trapped up there by the Fisher from Febby. They'll find 3 heroes there from the side of Archon, and I've got to be honest, if they can continue to do this, MVP finding these fights without the Naga, I mean, it's a Naga. It's going to get to that point where you're like, what do we do? Naga's going to have a few items in the lane to be constantly pushed and controlled. It's going to be so much harder for Archon.
Is he going to go for the steal?
Don't do it.
I think they have to. Is he going to go in? No, it was too slow. He had another run. Now he gets stunned. Oh my god. Okay, this game has officially gone back to ground zero. Okay. MVP are fully in this game again. Like, without a doubt. Like, based on the last 3 team fights, they lose Korok two fights in a row. They lose Aegis. They just lost their Ember. Like, I don't want to say that Archon are kind of choking a bit, but the last couple of team fights have been extremely bad.
BKB is now done on QO as well. So, I mean, we've seen how much he's been able to do in these fights without the BKB. Now with the BKB, as you said, there's just not going to be the items on Ush to do that physical damage. It's going to be so hard for them to bring down this TA. as Kyo, he's really been putting the work in. Top of the net worth, 13k gold. He's really kind of been able to keep MVP in the game to this point where now MVP can fight as a team and come out the majority of the time. I mean, we look at Febby, we were talking about him being incredibly poor. I mean, he's still relatively poor, but he is now just over 100 gold away from his Blink Dagger, which is going to be a massive item pickup against the lineup of Archon.
That's what happens when you have a couple of good fights. I mean, we didn't really talk about it a whole lot, but the way that everyone on the side of Archon are building, they have a bunch of heroes that are building like mid-game items only. So like Yules is very mid-gamey on Korok, right? So the Yules does nothing when there's actually a BKB out on the TA, which is one of the highest impact heroes on MVP. So Q's item progression already pretty much hard counters Korok's build. That's a problem, especially considering this was a safe lane position Queen of Pain. So we're already at a stage where MVP's cores are starting to outscale. I would not even just say the MVP are even, I'd say they're ahead. Now KP, he's going to get out here. There is a glimpse available. I think it would have been much better off. Oh, he didn't have a TP. Okay, that's actually really bad news for him. He is dead.
Just nice to buy up a little bit here, picking up the recipe and the airband, and maybe they can turn it around. Q with the damage. Can he kill Fall before the TP? Oh, he gets him! He gets the Disruptor, doesn't get MSS here on the clockwork. But, oh man, this is going to be MVP maybe finding a tower as well here. At the tier 2 already looking pretty low. The damage from QO going to be more than enough, and 2.1k gold going to be even more with this tower on top of the BKB and Deso. This TA, I mean, we were talking about the fact that in 6.84 their win rate with TA, 3 wins, 1 loss. Pretty good for a TA in competitive, because we don't see this hero a lot.
Yeah, it's something that is very rare, just because of the prevalence of, like, Queen. Leshrac actually does pretty good against her in lane as well, just because of, like, the sheer amount of spam that you have. Viper is a common counter pick that we see against it, even though in this game MVP have both heroes. There's just a lot of reasons why the hero isn't seen quite as much. But, again, if you look at the graphs, I just want to point out that there was, like, a gigantic deficit for MVP in this game.
Hold that thought, because it might be even more of a deficit here for Archon coming up as Korok. Oh!
The damage!
Goodbye, Quap. And he says, well, I don't want to have any of that, Chad. He's out of there as well. He's got a TP. He's almost really going to use it. But, sorry, yes, back to the graphs, Andy.
Yeah, but you can tell. If you look at the way that the game was going, all those little marks on the bottom that are red are just kills from Archon. And then you just see nothing after the swing starts back up. Like, they've killed, like, what, 2 or 3 heroes in the last 7 to 8 minutes? And they lost Roshan. I'm just not really sure now what the game plan is for Archon, because it's one thing to build your heroes in a way that scales well into the late game, but Korok built in a high impact role, and then he goes completely insane for the first like 15-20 minutes. Then he dies 3 times in a row, and he hasn't gotten a thing since he finished up his Aghanim Scepter. Like, his gold permanent has pretty much just completely fallen off, and the Naga Siren is not going to get anywhere but farther and farther ahead. Like, KP, he's got his Yasha pretty much, I think, done as soon as he sends
he's going for the Octarine build.
Yeah. The Octarine is pretty standard build nowadays. But we're a critical mass right now for MVP. They've already gotten all the core items up that they need. Archon now definitely on the back foot. Ush is going to be like the shining hope of the team. Can he get to like double Battle Fury and a crit to defend the high ground? Because that's going to be the next step. They're going to need that timing to make sure that the Naga Siren's not just going to eat them alive. And that's not even including TA or the Shaker, who now has Blink and a gem. That was taken, of course, by Archon, but... Or taken from Archon, excuse me.
Look at how aggressive QO is playing. He blinks straight up to the high ground here, and indeed, couple of clicks if he can find them onto Chad. He's trying to chase this one down. The Yules from Korok going to hold the TA back. But, I mean, as you said, I don't think there's any reason for QO to be scared of anything at this point, and they should be able to find this tier 2 here if they can just get the creep wave in. It's already looking pretty damaged here on this middle lane.
Things are looking pretty rough at the moment for Archon now. I guess they do have very good high ground defense, right? Like, if Clockwork hooks shots properly, like MSS had a really good game. He's 9-3-6. If he can isolate and try to find like a good cog into a static storm, and then the Queen follows up with some damage, they can definitely turn the fight. But that's also pretty reliant on MVP actually pushing up into high ground, where I think that they might be more content to just try to take the next Roche and not try to push their advantage too much. Because once they see, like, QO, his Aegis is actually gone. And he's almost got a Daedalus. Jesus. Okay, he is, like, massive in terms of farm right now.
And that Naga as well. The Naga that's died how many times? It died 4 times this game. Now sitting above anyone on the side of Archon in terms of net worth. Second overall, there's going to be a hookshot from MSS coming in onto QO. He does have the back from Korok, but again, the BKB's popped. One Maelstrom brings Korok down to half of his life. And now the MSS on the run here with the armor ticking down. He's got to get, I think, a couple more hits, maybe even just one. Oh, okay, he's going to need another one here, and he's going to find it. QO now trapped up by the Static Storm, but he continues to fight. Korok will go forward. That's a big kill. They take down the TA. The fight hasn't finished yet, though. Nuts will look for the TP out. He's going to find it here. Ush is still hanging around here, and it's going to be Korok going forward here towards March. KP here with the Song of the Siren. Is it going to be one to disengage? There's going to be the Glimpse actually bringing March back into it. KP will be able to escape. March moving close and personal onto Fog. And Fog is going to be able to keep himself alive for the time being because there's Korok holding back March here with the Yule Scepter. They'll bring down the Viper, and it is indeed a good job that Fog did not die there because he... No, it wasn't him that brought back. Okay, it was the Clockwork that brought back.
Yeah, MSS did die. Like, the QO chased him and got himself killed because of the chase. So, in the end, not really worth it for MVP, but they kept Naga Siren alive, and KP actually has his soul booster, so he is closing in more and more on that Octarine core. And as we were talking about the fight going well for Archon, you can see the effect that Naga Siren's already having on the game. Two lane pretty much pushed to Archon's base, with their tier 3 and bottom lane actually being sieged by an illusion and some creeps. So, those fights, as important as they are for Archon, I'm not saying it's bad to fight, I'm just saying that you always have to remember that in those engagements, if the Naga Siren is still split pushing you in the meantime, it becomes significantly harder for you to actually get full control of the game back. You're going to need to find like multiple big fights and potentially the Naga Sirens here.
Indeed, Nash, he's closing in on that second Battle Fury now. Halfway through the value of his final sword for that item. I mean, with the Ember Spirit, you have got the potential to defend against this Naga, and well, Ember might find himself a kill. Slayer Fist juking out the stun there. MSS is there anyway with the follow-up to find that kill. And that's just a little bit of something extra that's pretty much, yep, that's it. That's going to be the second Battle Fury complete for Ember Spirit.
Yeah, this item timing from Ember is still pretty decent. Like, it's 33 minutes in, so I'd actually say the second Battle Fury is a bit slow. But again, their momentum fell off pretty heavily when they started losing those 2 or 3 team fights in a row, and then Ush also died when he was trying to steal the Aegis. Unfortunately, he had 2 remnants out, and it takes a little bit longer to travel to 2 than it does to 1, so his timing was just a tiny bit off, and the fissure from Febby, you know, it wasn't great. So now that he's got full Battle Fury, the farm's going to be even more real, and then once he gets to his Daedalus, that's when you're going to have to really worry about not clumping up. Because if you do, you can actually just get like killed in one fist. But that's how much damage it can do. So,
I mean, I guess on the plus side for the side of MVP, they've the Earthshaker, I guess, is 1k health. He hasn't really got that much, so not too tanky. Everyone else, you've got the Viper, you know, with a mech, you know, with drums and treads, fairly tanky. The TA, of course, with the refraction. If she's able to get that out, going to help her against the Slight Fist. And then you've got the Dazzle coming in with the Weave and the heals. So, if anything, they can still push. I mean, it's not the end of the world if they get caught out. And as you said, it is going to require that crit from the Ember Spirit because the 2 Battle Furies alone, I just feel it's not enough against what the side of MVP have got in terms of sustainability.
MVP, they can push forever if they want to. Like, just having
this.
Oh, this is the loop around.
This is the old-fashioned loop around. Let's see what they're able to achieve with it here. Febby on the front lines is going to be QO leading in straight into MSS. MSS able to force something, but oh, the hookshot as well, getting himself back towards the disruptor. Now Korok going forward onto QO. They've held him in place here, but QO, of course, he's got that BKB. Oh, the pure damage as well, bringing him incredibly low. But now turns to Korok, will be able to blink himself away, but killing him cape as well. Looks like he'll be able to escape from this one. MSS trapped up here in his own cogs, in fact, with the illusions now. Now Febby, he's being shallow graved up. He's going to be alright for the time being. Chad there, kind of split up. He's going to look for the TP out here, and he might just find it. No, he won't. Chad is going to go down. I was looking for a TP. He's not going to find it either. 3 heroes down on the side of Archon, leaving Korok to only just escape on 60 HP in the sidelines. MVP, the wraparound, certainly successful that time.
Yeah, Chad did live, by the way, just barely.
Ah, Chad lived.
The attack animation was like mid-air when the TP went off, so he was actually able to get himself out of there. But that was a really awkward fight because they blew everything on QO, hoping that they could actually get the kill. And then the BKB comes out, and there's just no damage follow-up. Like, there's no one else who can really hit him. And losing Ush in that engagement on top of everything else, when he's like the one hero who really needs to continue his item progression, it's very, very painful for Archon now. Like, they know the Naga Siren is getting very close to the Octarine core once again. MVP also secure Roshan in the meantime. Like, this game is so uphill for Archon. Like, they just need to constantly be looking for something and trying to make sure they can keep their lanes pushed out.
Ooh, QO, just at this point, with the Aegis. I mean, it looks like the side of MVP don't necessarily want to push. I mean, Archon 2 heroes down, they're going to be back on the board fairly shortly.
If they just keep the lanes in,
yeah,
it's not a matter of them being able to go high ground or not. It's just a matter of Archon not being able to farm enough.
Yeah.
Because MVP are going to be taking your jungle, they're going to be taking their jungle and 3 lanes because of the Naga Siren illusions. And then you look at it and you're like, okay, well, where do we farm? So it's not a matter of even breaking high ground for MVP. It's a win that they decide that they need to.
And at this point, looking at the Ember Spirit, he's looking pretty poor on top of those Battle Furies. He's a good 5k behind the Naga Siren and 6k almost behind TA. Archon are going to need almost a miracle if they want to try and turn around one of these fights. It's going to be very hard to do so, especially when it gets to the point that KP's getting himself involved as well, which for the most part of it, he just hasn't, because he hasn't needed to. Manta Star, Soul Booster, closing in on money to be able to get that completed Octarine as well. It's we've been saying it time and time again, but it is just so scary for Archon.
The big question for me is, what is Archon's counterplay to this? Like, how do they get themselves...
Rapier Ember, Andy.
Well, the thing is, even just having a rapier, like,
sure,
it's a significant amount of damage, but it's such a high-risk item, and I feel like it's a low reward in this case, because you have a rapier in inventory. What's your first instinct? I don't want to lose my rapier. So you sit in the base. So buying a rapier can actually make you play more passive than normal. The ideal situation is to find a couple of good smokes and get map control back, and force the Naga onto her side of the map and try to get a little bit of breathing room. That's ideally what you could do in the situation, but... Again, MVP are doing a really good job at pressuring. Middle and bottom lane are just consistently being pressured by illusions, like, all the time. Ush is being forced to stay down there to counter push, and it's actually very nice that they have Ember because of their counter pushing potential. And I think he's actually outside of base. Okay, nice force step from MSS. It looks like he'll be alright.
I mean, you're talking about lanes doing exactly what I said. You just look at each and every lane. There's an Naga illusion in them all, clearing out the creep waves, making it incredibly hard for Archon to get the momentum back out of their base. And I think, yeah, as you're saying, with the fact that you're looking at this Ember Spirit, it's going to go in here, but Cure pops the BKB here, continues to hit down at this tower. The tier 3 melting at a pretty incredible rate here. Ush, what can he do here? Slider Fist coming through again, but the refractions there. TA just standing her ground. She's still got that Aegis. Not scared of anything at the moment. The racks are now exposed on this top lane here in the base of Archons. The armor as well coming through, ticking in from that weave, and of course with the Solar Crest as well, just making it very hard for Archon to initiate on the side of MVP.
They don't want to use their ultimates on a hero who has Aegis. That's the big problem right now. Like, you don't want to have to static storm on QO. Like, yeah, his BKB's down, but if you have to use ultimates on the first time, how are you going to kill him the second time? And I just get that. Oh, the melt!
Croc's able to just blink himself away. Hex thrown down on QO. Now there's the hookshot in MSS, going incredibly deep and aggressive on his own almost certainly, because there's a lot of heroes. Chad tries to blink forward to help him. MSS is able to force himself away. They do manage to pop the Aegis here on the TA. As Ush goes in, but now with the Aegis holding as he plays, able to remnant himself back out. But the TA now back in and he goes forward. He takes down the Ember Spirit here. QO will get held in place now with the ultimate in the finger. They bring down QO. Maybe MVP are overextending a little bit. March getting, but they make the shallow grave. They keep him alive here. Croc going forward here, trying to find what he can, but not. He's going to put down. Croc will live. Not getting MSS low hit with right clicks and the physical damage. And it's QO though that's cleaning up. It's a double kill. They're looking for Fox as well. Holding place for the net check as well. But look at the side blades. The side blades. They've lost 3 now on the side of Archon. It's a triple kill for your TA. And now with the BKB, she's going to the floor. Croc trying himself back base. Will be able to make it, but he goes in the base. There's going to be the Yule set to keep him alive. And QO, he's gone too deep. He's gone too far. He's dead for 110 seconds, but it doesn't matter. GG has actually been called by the side of Archon, regardless, because they have been mega creeped. The Naga push was just too strong. It doesn't matter if they kill the TA, because there's a Naga who finishes the game top of the net worth for your base. It's in shatters. I think there might have been a GG cancel there because they thought, no, wait, we killed TA, we can still do it. But then they realized that the game was well and truly over. It will be MVP.Phx moving forward to the winner bracket final, essentially, of the wildcards. Don't worry if you're an Archon fanboy or fangirl, they will be back in the lower bracket.
Yeah, and they will be playing against the loser of CDEC, of course, taking on Vega.
Yep.
And we don't know actually who won that series yet because we haven't been watching.
Yeah, I can still hear Toby. I think they're still going.
Just take the headset off, check it. All right, yeah. Toby is still yelling. We are confirmed
and the game should
in
be still.
That series. But yeah. I gotta say, Archon, they brought their A game in the early parts of game number 3. Like, they were playing phenomenal. They had a 14,000 experience lead and 10,000 gold lead. and between 2 or 3 fights and a fumbled Roshan, they kind of just gave it back to MVP. And that's kind of the big danger of playing against this lineup that has a hero like Templar Assassin and a Naga Siren, is you can never really say that the game is over until you've actually killed the throne. Because those are the types of heroes that can actually come back. Naga especially, because he went from having like 2,600